Hey, Walt here from WaltonPA.com as well as StogieReview.com with another shooting debris video, and this time around it is a Sporting Clays update. I just got in from my fourth Sporting Clays outing, and you know what? I didn't shoot nearly as well as I did last time. You know, one of the really interesting things about Sporting Clays, at least at Oley Valley Fish and Game, is every week when they set up their sort of mini course on a Tuesday night, or actually it's like a Tuesday afternoon through night, but every time they set it up, it's different. You go there and you're shooting you know, a different sequence of clays. And this time I was there, they set up they were using automated trap house, as well as just this big massive thing with a bunch of clays in it that just kind of threw them. It wasn't a trap house, it was just sort of like a throwing machine set out electronically out in a field. And started off with my nemesis, the 3 pairs of rabbits, and of those 6 clays, I think I broke maybe 3. 2 or 3 clays. I really struggle with those rabbits, especially when they hit the ground and they bounce, and it's just sort of a random, they just go, and you know, you can't like when a typical clay goes in the air, you know, I know its path of travel, I know where it's going to drop, you know, I can see that it's all predictable. And when those rabbits come out, you know, they hit the ground, you know, they hit something at the ground and they bounce. Sometimes they bounce really high, sometimes they're just skirting across the ground, so they're completely unpredictable. And I feel rushed to get that first shot off, because if I take my time, I have no idea how far out that second clay is going to be, so I really struggle with those. Once we got past the nemesis, everything was up in the air and nothing was really difficult. You know, I still had a lot of trouble this week. I found myself in a position where when the clays got into the break zone, they weren't kind of angled. I was looking at them on edge, and I don't know whether it was a mind game kind of a thing, but they seemed so much harder to hit when I was just looking at the edge. You know, a lot of times you'll start to see them tip or angle up, and this way you've got a lot more surface area to aim at. But you know, I just kept seeing these clays, and I was just seeing the profile, that thin line, and I had a lot of difficulty breaking those. And then when they were using the trap houses, I had one clay coming from one direction, another clay coming from another direction, and that was new to me. So, you know, following the path of the clay and then breaking it, and then with the other machine set on report, the other clay was firing as soon as I fired the shotgun. So now I'm breaking my rhythm and going back, swinging back the other way. It was difficult, and it was fun, but it was difficult. And you know, at the end of the course, I probably broke 50%. I didn't do so good this time. But you know, that's the fun thing about Sporting Clays. You know, you're not going and seeing the same pattern, and you know, you're not getting the same experience every time you go. It's different, it's more fun, and it's a lot more challenging that way. So obviously I'm going to have weeks that I do really well, and then there's going to be those weeks where I barely break anything, like this week. But you know, at the end of the course, we're walking back down toward the clubhouse, and the young guy that I've seen 2 or 3 times now, he says, "Hey, you know, just so you know," he says, "you know, I work for tips." Well, you know, immediately I get kind of embarrassed, because of the 4 times I've been there, I never tipped him. 3 of those times I shot by myself, and he never mentioned tips. And the only time that I shot with someone else, they came like midway, and I was done, and they were sort of going back around to the beginning of the course again. So I didn't see anyone tip him then either. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know, okay, he's just getting a cut of the $12 I'm paying the club to shoot the Sporting Clays. So you know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I don't need to tip him or anything. And what happened was, it was like, okay, you know, no big deal. I kind of was embarrassed about it, not tipping him until this point in time. But you know, I go into the clubhouse, I grab a soda so I can break a 5 and give him a couple bucks. And then on my way home, you know, I'm driving home, and I'm really thinking about it, because I'm on a budget as it is, and any kind of shooting sports are difficult when you're on a budget, unless you're shooting 22, which requires a substantial investment in the beginning for your rifle or your pistol or whatever, being a couple $100 and going up from there. Shooting 22 is relatively inexpensive. For $22 you can get a box of 550 rounds, something like that. So 22 itself is really inexpensive, but when you get into the shotgun sports, like what I'm doing with sporting clays, it's $12 to shoot the clay, to shoot a round of 50 clays, and then on top of that I have to buy federal bulk boxes of shotgun shells, of birdshot, and I don't have to, but if I want to save money I have to buy them that way. So I spend roughly $26 after taxes, and I get 100 shells. Well, those 100 shells gets me 2 outings. So basically I'm looking at about $13 for shells, $12 for actual shooting. So it's a $25 total investment. And that $25 is, it's a bit much, to be honest with you. On a budget, it's $25 isn't much, but it kind of is, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But when you've got a $25 total investment on a budget, and then you find out later on that there's a tip involved too, now we're getting above my comfort zone. I could deal with $25, but now we're looking at like $27, $28 just to shoot sporting clays. It gets kind of expensive. Now, I was planning on going every other week, so we're looking at 2 times a month figure. Well, that's, in my initial plan was, $50 a month. I could deal with that. I'm having a lot of fun doing it, so we can manage. $50 is okay. We can do that. And now we're looking at more than $50, so it's kind of a deterrent there. And then on my way home, I'm thinking about this. It's $50 a month over the course of a year. That's $600 a year for sporting clays. Now, on top of that, I've been there 4 times. Of those 4 times that I've been there, 3 of those outings have been by myself. Only once has someone else shown up and joined in. And even when you count that, I still did the course in about 20 minutes. So I'm spending like $28 now for 20 minutes worth of fun. And it gets substantial at the end of the year. So we're looking at, if we use those figures, 4 hours of actual shooting time throughout the course of an entire year, which has cost me $600, is a $600 investment. When you break that down by the hour, it's like $150 an hour to shoot sporting clays. I'm extrapolating that, and I'm coming up with this extravagant number, but in the back of my mind, that's what I'm getting at when I keep thinking about all this stuff. Now, when I walked through the door, I put the shotgun away. I got all my stuff put away, and I was talking to my wife, and she says, what's wrong? Usually you come home, and you're in a really good mood. You're relaxed. You we're out shooting and stuff. She said, you weren't going for very long. What happened? I said, well, that's all it took me was 20 minutes to shoot the round. And I was explaining to her all this stuff that I was thinking about on my way home about the cost and stuff. And she's like, if you want to do it, just, go ahead and do it. It's not a ton of money. You're looking at $2 more than $2 or $3 more than what you had originally estimated. But now in the back of my mind, it just seems like too much. I enjoy it, but I don't enjoy it that much. Where I'm gonna invest $600 over the course of a year for 4 hours worth of fun. Now, if I were to get there and there were a group of people, and that same, even if I did 20 minutes of actual shooting, but I was there for an hour and a half, and there was camaraderie, and there were people laughing and having a good time, I would see it as more value. Right now, I just see it as $25 to shoot for 20 minutes, and then I get in the car and come home. And that was kind of bugging me the last time I was there, even though I shot really well and I was in a great mood when I left. I still was kind of bummed out about the fact that I'm there and gone in a matter of 20 minutes. So, I'm sitting here now and I don't know what I want to do, whether I'm going to continue doing it every other week and just, spend, $28 to shoot for 20 minutes and hope that sometimes I run into a group of people, or whether I'm going to break it out even further and maybe do it once a month, or maybe, make those 2 trips a month on the days, on the Sunday course that they have, because I know it's going to be longer, it's bigger, it's in the woods, they get a lot more people that come out, so I'll be there at the club substantially longer. Even though my actual shoot time may be the same, I would actually feel better about the money that I was spending. So, in summary, I did some crappy shooting, and I overanalyzed how much it's actually going to cost me to shoot sporting clays, and I'm not quite sure whether or not I want to continue to do it the way things are now. But also today, I was looking at if I do continue to do this, one of the things that I want to do is take a body-mounted camera of some sort, whether it's a GoPro camera, Hunter specialty glasses with the camera between the eyes, or the Contour HD, which sort of mounts on the side of your hat or a helmet or whatever. Because I think it's really cool when I take my flip cam to the range and I actually can see myself shoot, so I can analyze what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. I think that's very beneficial. I would like to apply the same logic to sporting clays as well, because I'm going alone and I can't just kind of like drag a tripod around with me. I guess I could, but it's kind of overkill to actually hold the flip cam. I'm looking at sort of a body-mounted camera, and at the same time, I see that as very beneficial for USPSA shooting. So I'm really considering getting myself some sort of camera. I was actually looking at the Hunter specialty glasses again today. A couple of weeks ago, I saw a guy post on one of the forums that I visit some footage of an IDPA match he did a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things I didn't like about the camera was that it got kind of jittery. Whenever there was movement, like he was, moving to engage different targets, you would get a little bit of skipping, and you'd get some discoloration, and there was kind of like a black bar that popped up for like a millisecond across the bottom of the screen. USPSA shooting requires a lot of movement, and even sporting clays, the shock of the shotgun is probably going to make the camera flicker and stuff like that. So even though the camera is less expensive than the other options, I don't know that I want to go that route. I may wear that big thing stuck to my head instead of incorporating the camera inside the glasses. So looking at that camera setup again, I'm not too crazy about it. I was looking at a lot more Contour HD footage, which I like more than the GoPro camera, but just because it's a smaller unit and it's less expensive, not by a whole lot. I think it's about $40 less than the GoPro setup. But I seem to like the Contour HD video better. If you're familiar with Caleb Goodings from Gun Nuts Media, I believe he uses a Contour HD camera for his matches, IDPA, USPSA, whatever he shoots. I've seen a lot of his footage, and it looks really good. Every once in a while, the camera bumps into an obstacle beside him. Like if he's shooting through a porthole and there's a fence, as he's leaning in toward the fence, sometimes the camera bumps into it, and I can see that being a problem, being mounted to the side of your head. But I think it's better than having like the the miner's light stuck to your forehead in the GoPro camera. So I'm still not quite sure where I'm going to go with the body-mounted camera, but the more Contour HD video footage I see, the more I like the camera. It's not ideal because it's sticking off your head, but it seems to be leaps and bounds better than the Hunter specialty hunting game cameras. I shouldn't say game cameras. They're safety glasses with a camera in them. So that's kind of where I'm at. Still not quite sure what I'm going to do about the sporting clays, but I'll keep you in the loop on what I decide. I was looking at the schedule for USPSA again. And I'm not sure whether Topton's going to have a match in August. Initially, I was under the impression that they were not. However, I was on the website today looking at the schedule, and there's a banner that says no shoot this month. The next match will be August. I don't remember what day in August, but I thought, okay, that's probably a misprint because this month is July, and there was a match in July, so he may mean August. But then again, if he means there is no match in August, why does he have a date for August? So I looked at the calendar because I was going to compare that date in August versus that date in September. To get a better idea, because it's always the third Sunday. I believe it's the third Sunday of the month that Topton does their matches. And I looked, and of course the date for August was proper. It was the right date. And in September it was on like a Tuesday or something. So I guess I need to get in touch with the match director and find out whether there's a match in August. Because if there is a match in August, I'm going to shoot there. If not, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was looking at some other clubs, and I could go to there's a club out in New York, but it's an hour and 15 minutes away. I could potentially run down to Lower Providence, but it looks like their match is the first Saturday or first Sunday in August, which is really soon, and I have something going on that weekend, so that doesn't work out for me. So I'm kind of looking around to see what my options are. Because I'm a USPSA member, I'm really eager to shoot the 4 matches required to be classified. So I'm looking more at doing USPSA versus IDPA. So we'll see how it goes. If there is no USPSA match on a weekend that works for me, I'll just have to give IDPA a try and we'll see how it goes. But this video has gotten entirely too long, and I've gotten off on random topics, but I'm going to enjoy my cigar a little bit, think a little bit harder about this sporting clays thing, and enjoy the rest of my evening. So until next time, happy smoking, happy shooting, and I will catch you later.